Two balls and a strike to count on Taylor. Reyes fires, swinging a drive, deep left field. It's his way back. Walk the ball. Chris Taylor.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined today by Matt Moreno. Matt, today we are talking Dodgers roster. As of yesterday, every major league team had to move their rosters from 28 people to 26 people. There was a maximum of 14 pitchers allowed on that roster of 26. And so the Dodgers go ahead and they make two moves. The first was optioning Zach McKinstry. The second was designating for assignment Carson Fulmer, the latter of which, to me at least, was the more surprising move, mostly because I'm still trying to figure out how rosters work in COVID world. But Fulmer was a guy who got added to the roster on Saturday, never makes an appearance, and now that they need to move him off of the 40-man roster, he gets outrighted. Were you as surprised by the Fulmer piece of this as I was?
Yeah, definitely at first. Because he's a former top prospect, and obviously when they drafted him when they took him in the Rule 5 draft, you and I both agreed that, hey, he has the pedigree to kind of be a pitcher that the Dodgers maybe make some changes here and there and refine and get something out of him. And in spring training, I thought he pitched well. It was a relatively small sample size, but then he's also done well with Oklahoma City so far to begin the season. So it did surprise me because I think now you obviously are running the risk of, Fulmer going through waivers. My guess is he'll probably get claimed and not remain with the team. And so you're going to sort of lose a lottery ticket you had. I think, it's just an unfortunate situation all around because on the one hand, he wouldn't have been up with the team had, Mitch White not gotten COVID and had to go on the COVID IL. On the other hand, maybe he'll end up getting an opportunity with somewhere else. But yeah, it's kind of an unfortunate situation.
Yeah, so to piggyback on the roster piece I kind of alluded to, in order to play in the major leagues, you have to be a part of a 40-man roster. Once you are on a 40-man roster, if you are out of options, as Fulmer is, you cannot be sent down to the minor leagues without essentially being released and subject to waivers. Because of COVID regulations, when Mitch White was placed on the COVID list, the Dodgers could actually essentially add a 41st member of their 40-man roster. That was Fulmer on Saturday. He did not pitch Saturday. He did not pitch Sunday. So now that the Dodgers want to move him off of the major league roster, he is out of options. They have no choices but to subject him to waivers. And so the question for me is, why was this the plan? Why bring him up at all? Obviously, you don't know how Saturday and Sunday are going to go, and yet you also had 15, 16 relief pitchers. You could have used anybody. They could have put somebody up there who has options, that kind of a thing. I guess it would be somebody that had to be on the 40-man roster, but there just seemed like other things. As it relates to Fulmer, for those that don't know, 8th pick in the 2015 draft out of Vanderbilt, now 28 years old, has kind of bounced around, as Matt said, came to the Dodgers via the minor league Rule 5 draft. He's basically spent the past 7 seasons at AAA, up and down into the majors, but you look at his AAA numbers, he's never had an ERA below 4.60. He comes to the Dodgers, and this year, as you said, he improved. 8 appearances, 11 2/3 innings, a 2.31 ERA, a 1.11 whip, more than a strikeout per inning. And so I guess the thing, it is a lottery ticket, but you kind of alluded to it. As soon as he was added, you knew that this day was coming. You knew at some point he was either going to have to stick on a bullpen roster that we know is crowded, or he was going to have to be DFA'd. And so that's the part that confuses me. I guess Reyes Maranta is the other guy who might have been eligible. Maybe the Dodgers like that he has some options available. So while he stays on the 40-man roster, he can be sent to the minor leagues. But I guess, Matt, I just can't wrap my head around how this was the outcome that the Dodgers, they're smart. They knew that this was the 95% chance likely scenario here, and it just confuses me because it's not like he came into a game and pitched and sucked. He never even played.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I think, another component too is basically, the Dodgers needed to make this move now, but also if you want to look a little bit further down the line, once David Price and Mitch White are able to return, they're going to need their 40-man roster spot back. So the Dodgers, maybe Carson Fulmer would have survived this time, but in, the next 5 days, 7 days, whatever it ends, he may have been DFA'd at that point anyway, if or when, if it's White or Price coming back. I do agree with you, though. The question is for, why was it Carson Fulmer to begin with? That I don't necessarily know. He did sign a minor league contract with the team, and those obviously have different opt-out dates and certain terms. So maybe that was coming up. Maybe there had already been, some sort of discussions internally of, hey, I'm probably going to end up opting out if there isn't an opportunity for me. not necessarily inclined to fully believe that, because Fulmer did say, he was excited to be with the Dodgers, and especially Walker Buehler to sort of reunite with him.
Yeah.
And frankly, as far as Reyes Moranta, he could be next
Yeah.
if, like I said, Price or White, once they're both ready to come back, they're going to need spots. And so maybe Moranta's time is up then, and just for whatever reason, the Dodgers chose to keep him for now instead of Carson Fulmer.
Yeah, and I suppose there's a world where Carson Fulmer accepts an assignment and doesn't, opts to just stay with the Dodgers organization. I believe that's something he could do. But just looking at the 40-man roster, I mean, Garrett Clevenger is a guy who is on the 40-man roster who is not in the major leagues. He could have been taking that space. Andre Jackson, a guy who is on the 40-man roster in the minor leagues, could have taken that space. Even a guy we interviewed here on this show a couple weeks ago. I mean, you could have brought Michael Grove up for a couple of days. He's already on the 40-man roster. Throw him in the bullpen. Let him get a little bit of experience at the major league level. And then after 2 days, you just send him back, and no harm, no foul. He's already on the 40-man. He's not going anywhere. Those are the types of decisions. And Grove, maybe that messes up service time. I don't know. So Jackson, Clevenger are the easy ones just sitting there, and yet that's not the route the Dodgers chose to go. And now they're in this place. So apologies to Zach McKinstry. We didn't really get to discuss you. You're having a great season at AAA. But again, the story here is the Dodgers needing to trim their roster from 28 to 26. They do so yesterday. Carson Fulmer, the big news, designated for assignment. So we'll find out in the coming days what that means, whether he ends up with a new team, whether he sticks around with the Dodgers, whether he clears waivers, those types of things. But we'll see. Check out DodgerBlue.com for all the latest. We'll have the updates there. DodgerBlue1958 on social media as well. That's Matt. My name is Jeff. Dodgers play the Giants tonight. Big game. First game between the two teams of the season. We'll have all the coverage you can want. Again, DodgerBlue.com, DodgerBlue1958. And of course, right here at DodgerBlue1958's YouTube channel as well. We appreciate you joining us. We'll see you next time.